I'm going to talk about the Crike model, and we've built several other models, but I really like this one because I think you can sort of talk about sort of like simming it up versus like keeping it as bare bones as possible, and we can talk about that in small groups. You need a few supplies, and really most of this is optional. The thing that you here. So what you really need is some tubing, the respiratory tubing that you get from the emergency department. And again, this is not going to expire, so you just have to kind of be friends with your supply center person and just grab it. But each one of these will give you about like 35 models, and you really don't need 35 models because each model that you build is good for like hundreds of uses. All right, so you really just need one of these. A pair of scissors, an 11 blade just to kind of do the cutting. This is foam cushioning, and you can get it at Amazon. It's like comes in a gigantic roll like this big. I can't remember how much it is, but it's really cheap, and and that's like hundreds of pieces of this, and each one of these it gives you like 50 uses. And then some masking tape, and then the staple gun and the board are optional. We'll talk about that in just a second. So the first thing you're going to do, the last thing you need, most importantly, is a rubber leg tip. You can get that at Amazon. It comes in like packets of like 30 or so for like $10. All right, so the first thing is you want to cut a 1 centimeter thick ring from the open end of the tip, of the rubber leg tip. And so this gives you the thyroid cartilage and the cricoid cartilage. Bear with me, so it's not going to have that really nice Adam's apple, but it actually makes it a more difficult procedure, which we find really nice. Take a small piece of that respiratory tubing, and you just kind of shove that open ring through, and then put the thyroid cartilage up on the tip. You want to leave a little space in between, and then take your 11 blade and just cut a little opening there. All right. And so this is basically your model right there. So optional, if you want to stabilize it onto something, you can take a board and then staple it onto the board. But I find that you can actually just tape it to a table, tape it to a wall, tape it to whatever, and it allows for a very mobile procedure. So wherever you tape it to, just put a piece of tape down, add a little bit of that foam cushioning to provide some of that like subcutaneous tissue. You can add more or less depending on how difficult you want the procedure to be, and then put another piece of tape on top. And so this is the finished model. It's really easy to build. We'll do it like at the table over there. It takes about 5 minutes to build. Again, you can use this like hundreds of times before it really falls apart, and it's very mobile. And the nice thing about this model is that you can this is it. You can just use it like as is, or you can put it onto a mannequin. So if you have like an airway model, you can just sort of apply it to the neck area. What we've done is we've bought those styrofoam heads, at department stores and stuff, and then just cut a little hole in the neck area and just put it in there, and that adds a little bit to the fidelity. So when you actually do the procedure, what's nice about this model is when you put your bougie down, you can actually feel those rings, which is really cool. On the bottom end, as the instructor, you can see, okay, they've made it through. They can, you can see the bougie go through, and again, this is really nice for like lots of repetitions. I think this is really nice for those of us who are probably, who might still be using like pig tracheas for crikes, or cadavers where you really just get one crike out of the cadaver. You can do this hundreds of times. So really nice, it's inexpensive, it's reusable, it's easy to turn over, and it's fairly realistic. Again, you can sort of sim it up or sim it down. Is it important for you for the model to bleed? If so, we can talk about how we can do that, and to sort of add something small to it to make it bleed. There are several ways to do that. You can use that as a standalone crike trainer, or use it as part of your airway training. And we've actually brought this to the ED, and it's kind of like done some just-in-time training. I mean, we don't do a lot of crikes, right? But it's just nice to let's say you're working a shift and it's slow, and you want your residents to go through like 10 crikes right there in front of you. You can just do this with very little equipment.